Hello and welcome as always to the Books Crypto Club weekly catch-up on Zoom. It is Sunday the 11th of September 2022 and we are going to be talking about whatever the audience want to talk about. We use these sessions to discuss cryptocurrency, NFTs, DeFi, ICOs, STOs, any other letters really. All depends upon what people want to talk about, if they're interested in learning particular things or if they're interested in sharing information about projects. We hold these sessions every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. UK time. And if you click on the link below, we've got the joining details of how you can come along and join a future session. Sessions are open to everybody, novice and expert alike. And we welcome questions from people, the simpler the better, and also news and information about projects that you're working on. Anyway, without further ado, let's see who's going to come and join us today. Sebastian, hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
I certainly can. How's it going?
Very good.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us. We've just had a few join us right now. We've got Dan's joined us as well. Hey, Dan. Dan's now struggling for the mute button. And we've also got somebody who I can't really read that character set. So say hi. No, it doesn't. No one else wants to say hello, Sebastian. So it's over to you.
Well, hello, and I hope you're having a good weekend.
Indeed. So you're back again.
I am, yes, I'm back. Like every good villain.
Excellent, that's splendid. Because that was a really good conversation. Was it 2 weeks ago now, or a week?
Yes,
well,
2 weeks.
We're talking about those things. Yeah, so that's great. So we'll see who else joins us today, and we'll see if there's any other questions or anything. But you were talking about some quite interesting stuff. Was it around the Ethereum merge that we were chatting about the other week?
Yes, that was certainly piqued my interest and led me to have a look at this group.
Okay, yeah. And so have you had an opportunity to learn any more about what's going on with the merge and that kind of thing?
I haven't, but I did find a nice page that shows when the merge is predicted to happen.
Okay.
So it takes the transaction record and extrapolates that forward and works out when it's most likely that the threshold will be met when it automatically changes over.
Okay, because usually when they're doing an upgrade, they will state which block it's going to happen on, and you can normally work out by how many blocks per minute are processed and that kind of thing. You can usually work out a date and a time, so that's good. So what date is it forecast to be at the moment? Because we're currently on the 11th of September, and I thought, was it going to be the 15th or something?
Well, according to the calculator, it's only 3 days away.
Oh, okay. So that's going to be the 14th then, even better. So excellent. And we've got Alina's back. Welcome back, Alina.
Hello, Gary. Hello, everyone.
Excellent, great. For those who don't know, Alina has been fantastic. That she keeps describing herself as a novice, but she asks some of the most profound, brilliant questions, which I think are the sign of a true expert. she has
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I haven't been doing anything about blockchain over the summer, so I will start with my very much novice questions again.
Great. Well, probably, Sebastian, were you and I talking the other week about blockchain use cases?
That's right.
Yeah.
And how it relates to the Linux Foundation project for Hyperledger.
Okay. And in fact, isn't there a Hyperledger conference on in Ireland this week?
Yeah, it's the big open source summit, and they have all the Linux Foundation projects doing their mini summits in the same location.
Okay. So, Elena, I don't know if you're aware of that, but there is a big conference going on. I think it's in Dublin, is it?
Obviously not, but now I'm...
There you go, straight away. You've been away for a few weeks. You come back on, and straight away we're giving you some useful information.
Well, I'd be in Dublin, but I had to withdraw my talk, unfortunately. So,
no. What was that? Was it something controversial?
It wasn't something controversial, no, but the product wasn't ready, so I had to withdraw it for a future event.
That's a shame, because it was interesting. Is it Rachel Wolfson, who works for one of the crypto companies? She was going to be in Dublin for the conference, and I think she and I follow each other on Instagram, and she's had an absolute nightmare with Aer Lingus getting from Paris to Dublin. And so she's thrown a hand in and she said, well, I'm not going. So So there might be a ticket going, Elena. You never know.
Who knows?
So, hi, Daniel.
Hi, boss. Good evening, sir.
Hey, we've got Dan on.
Yeah, good evening, boss.
Hey, Dan. You got lots of background noise. You sound like you're in somewhere at the moment. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
all right.
I'm in a noisy environment.
We can just about hear you. I think there's some people talking in the background as well. And we've got, I think Daniel was trying to speak as well just then.
Hey
All
there.
right, well done, everyone.
So we'll have a go. Hey, Daniel.
Hey
Yeah,
there.
bro, good evening. I got the link from a server, so I tried to join to know what's happening here.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I work a little bit with crypto, so I'm working on a platform for fractionalizing real estate and yachts and other things with NFTs. So,
Okay.
and also affiliate marketing and stuff. And yeah, what do you guys? I'm in
Yes.
London, normally in Gibraltar.
Okay, I was going to ask on that. There's a lot of companies who are doing things like either real estate or fractional ownership of high value goods at the moment. It's been interesting watching companies trying that over the last few years, failing, and now trying it with NFTs. So you say you're doing that with NFTs, are you?
Yes.
Okay. So do you have a platform that's up that you can tell us about, perhaps?
Yeah, it's veblen.com, but it's right now in development,
Okay.
so we can't see much. Yeah, I mean, one of the things we're gonna do is before we do property, we'll probably do VIP boxes at stadiums, you know, like let's say Chelsea,
Yep.
Liverpool, so on. So like I have some friends, they have VIP box, for example, at Chelsea, 24 seats. So I'll give them 24 NFTs for each seat, and each of these NFTs is going to produce another NFT for each game. So this way you kind of know how to give them away, exchange. Maybe they want to go to another game, whatever. So it makes everything very transparent, which now it's not.
Okay. So are you working with any football clubs or the Football Association or whatever it is these days on that?
Not right now. First, I'm gonna make the platform towards the end of the month. Anyone knows football clubs? Very interested. I focus on Champions League first and Premier League. So basically,
so my suggestion straight away, because I've had some exposure to this, is get in touch with the clubs and get in touch with the sporting bodies like the Premier League right away before you even bother with the platform, because you're probably going to find a lot of them have already got either platforms or agreements in place already. And so you might end up with a situation where you develop the most amazing platform and they'll say, oh, we've already signed up for something with somebody for 3 years.
No, don't. I checked different websites. So they have things for selling. So let's say there are many platforms for selling tickets and reselling tickets. But let's say when it comes to the VIP box itself, they never sell them in pieces, you know? Let's say you're Binance and you buy a VIP box, then that's it. Do whatever you want with your box, with your 24, like Chelsea doesn't do anything further. I'm not sure you're able to resell them, but you should be. That's what I believe. But
you generally can't. This is the point. So it's similar to if you have a ticket for Wimbledon, where there are certain tickets. There are rules and regulations that they have around resale rights, and the clubs. I think Chelsea in particular and the other big clubs are very, very restrictive on what you can do. So this is where I say it would be sensible to approach them.
But listen, what about exchanging? So let's say now there is a game between Chelsea and Liverpool, and in a few months is going to be a game between Liverpool and Chelsea. You know? Okay, so let's say somebody wants to, let's say, imagine Binance or another company has a box in Chelsea, and maybe they can give away a few tickets, and then somebody else can give them tickets to the opposite game at Anfield. You know, so just exchanging tickets, I don't think it's a problem because it's within the box. The people that own the box can invite whoever they want.
Okay, I think it would certainly be worth having a conversation with the clubs, because they often have transfer restrictions on what you can and can't do. Sounds like a good idea. I completely guess what you're trying to do with that. But I've been involved in a couple of projects doing similar things over the last couple of years. And each time the challenge is not the technology. You know, you can build a smart contract, you can, you know, develop a blockchain solution and that. The challenge is always getting the clubs to accept the variation in the terms to allow you to do it. So yeah, kind of interesting then. Okay. How long have you been working on that then, Daniel?
Quite some time. I mean, the whole project has been changing. Like, so I should have some kind of a demo website. I mean, it should be working this month with the NFT platform and so on. Because the project before affiliate market. So what I've done for like 15 years is I'm a professional gambler, and I've done affiliate marketing the last few years. And then I just saw a big opportunity because a company called Picasso, sounds like Picasso, but it's called Picasso.com. Then they reach $1 billion valuation in 5 months from startup to 1 billion. So it's the fastest to become a unicorn. I was like, okay, it's worth looking into that, right?
Yeah.
So imagine when you first took an Uber ride or something like this. Even then, it was a good time to invest in Uber or to make a competitor like Lyft. So just because Uber is first doesn't mean that you cannot do it even better, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree. And this is the great thing about technology. It allows you to innovate, try new and interesting things. And even if somebody has already done something, you can sometimes do something which is just slightly different, slightly better, and it can make a real difference. So that's fantastic.
I can say, I can also work with them. So let's say if you take an Uber ride, you cannot take at the same time, like as a person, like you can book 2 cars, but physical person, you cannot travel in 2 cars, right? You cannot travel in Uber and Lyft at the same time yourself physically. It's not possible. But let's say somebody has bought a fraction of a house with Picasso. Let's say they do this in 8s, and I want to do the houses in 48s, for example. It's a slightly different model. So I can tell to the people that have 1/8 of a house, would you want to further fractionalize it into 6 48s?
So which countries are you looking at for that?
Mostly Gibraltar.
Just property in Gibraltar.
Because I live in Gibraltar, but it would work anywhere. So like, I mean, obviously I'm mostly interested in maybe to start, if I do property, it will be Gibraltar. But if it is about football, and I think football will be much easier because you can exchange your tickets or whatever. You can make a platform for, and then I'm pretty sure no one can stop you. Like if there is no money involved, if I want to invite some friends to the Chelsea game and then they invite me to the Liverpool game, I mean, I don't see a harm in that, you know? So you can start with something that I think legally cannot really be challenged. And once it gains popularity and traction, then I can move into property, maybe in Gibraltar, maybe in London. I think the stamp duty in London is like insane. So actually, this project can potentially be helpful because you can just exchange the fractions without dealing it.
So again, I would urge, but before you go too far with that, certainly in the UK, I believe that there are limits on the number of people who can have partial ownership of a property in the UK. And I think it's considerably less than the number you're thinking of.
Is it 4?
No, it's something like it's either 8 or 16 possibly. I can't remember the number, but I would go and check
Why
because
Picasso does it on 8. So
yeah,
but
okay,
what they do is they do shares of a company. So
yeah,
Apple has millions of shares or whatever, or billions. So if they can have, I think the limit is like 10 billion shares or 100 billion. So
yeah,
if you do so many shares,
yeah.
I
So
don't-
so you're right. So because again, I've seen this many times with real estate propositions. That what you do is you don't offer shares in a property for sale. You offer shares in a company that owns a property, and that gets around a whole of things. And as you say, stamp duty is a real pain. So
yeah.
I've seen that. I've seen that with a number of projects where you set up a special purpose vehicle registered somewhere like the British Virgin Islands or something. It owns the property, and you get shares in that company. So yeah, that's a more sensible way of doing it. Cool.
Yeah, thanks.
Excellent.
I wanted to see if anyone else has anything.
Yeah, and there's
Or, or
are you familiar with TPX Exchange? TPX are worth checking out. London-based company. They've gone through all the regulation type stuff, and they're doing fractional ownership of property in the way I kind of described. That they'd be worth your while checking into. That might be quite useful for you.
I'm gonna say the name TPX.
I think it's TPX. TPX. Let me just find it, and we'll pop it up here. So sometimes the founder of TPX comes and joins us on this call. I don't think he's going to be on it this week. Yeah. So company you're talking about, I've just put it up. TPX Exchange. So TPX-London. And they've got this whole thing. So the executive team is very experienced, and Anthony Abel from Canada originally, he's London based, and he's one of the co-founders, very knowledgeable, and he's gone through a lot of the regulatory pain as well. So he's worth checking out. So tpx-london.io is a company I'd say definitely try and connect with in some way, because they've got a lot of experience, and they appear to be doing things right, which is great. So something for you to check into, perhaps.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So we've got a couple of people on the call today. We've got Elena, who's been with us in the past. It's been away for a while. We've got Sebastian, who joined us a couple of weeks ago. Anyone else? Dan, you want to say hi, Dan?
I think you have a nice project, Daniel.
Yes, thank you.
I'm just curious. It's not a technical question or anything. If there is, if someone has an innovation idea like you, what is the right way of developing it then? So as Gary mentioned earlier, before the development, you need to find a company first that's interested in the idea, isn't it? So first, someone who's interested, and then mass media and advertising of that idea, and then only the last stage is the actual development itself, is it?
I mean, I would say it's a good idea to ask people. You know, like I ask a lot of people, and let's say some people don't like it. They want to own a property entirely, and that's it. They don't want to hear about fractional ownership and so on, and that's fine. You know, like some people don't like rock or jazz or classical music. That's okay, but there are many people interested. I mean, the fact that Picasso is now $1 billion company means that there is potentially a huge market. You know, maybe in hundreds of billions. I mean, think about, you know, it's interesting that there are 2 empty homes in UK and America for every homeless person, you know, like, and I'm not saying give the empty homes to the homeless people, but maybe use them more efficiently. And, you know, and if you use them more efficiently, maybe some percent profit can actually go to homeless or whatever. But I hate waste. Like, I think waste is really, really bad. And fractional ownership pretty much solves this problem.
Sounds definitely an interesting proposition. I guess, as Elena says, it's a matter of how do you start with this kind of thing? Do you look for the business problem? Do you look for a company that's got the problem? How did you come up with the idea originally?
I just read about Picasso, and within 5 minutes I said, "Oh, amazing!" You know, like, maybe, I mean, right now, if you want to do something like Facebook, it may be too late. If you want to do something like Uber, it may be too late, unless you have like a really innovative idea. But Picasso has such a small percentage of the potential market. You know, like, I think they have like less than 1% of people that maybe they have like 400 homes. I mean, think about how many people own a second home. I mean, they own such a small part of the, like, I thought it was like an amazing idea, and I thought that there is such a big market that I can do it differently, better. And I mean, even if you do exact copy of what they do, you still have a good chance to be successful, you know.
Well, we'll see where it goes. So you're saying you've got a website, but it's not particularly up to date at the moment. Was that right?
Yes. I mean, if you want to go on webland.com, I made just one small example.
Go on then. What was it again? Spell it out.
Of how it's just something that I gave to the developer. So let's say if you have on the left, let's say I put four owners of the box, for example. Let's say maybe there are just 4 tickets. Actually, so my friends have a box called Amber. They manage like $3 billion. Chelsea, and let's say 24 kids. I didn't bother to make 20 seats. And then there is each game. So imagine, by owning one of these NFTs, you would get a second NFT for each game, you know? So I wanted to do this at 3 steps. So let's say owning the box itself is like your golden NFT, you know, and you can buy or sell or whatever. And then you can choose to fractionalize it, and we'll give you like 24 silver NFTs that are each of the seats. And then each week, or even like twice, they will produce like a bronze NFT for each game. So like 3 levels. And so let's say I'll put 2 episodes of game, you know, let's say against Salzburg, and then against the other team is Liverpool, you know, and then I can put another 100 games. So the way that you can potentially fractionalize every seat in Chelsea. So basically you can turn the whole stadium into box holders and season ticket holders, and that's it. Like, you can make every single this way, and this way I think you will reach 100% capacity, you know.
So which blockchain are you running this on?
That's a good point. First, I'm gonna have the new better version of this in like 1 week, about explaining the idea. It would look much better, you know? Like, this is something that I made in 5 minutes to send developers, you know.
Sure.
And I haven't decided. So there is one option is near another is Cosmos. It could be Ethereum. If you open, there is something called NFT Seed Lab. I'm not sure, or Seed Lab NFT. If you go on Google, it's a similar project, and they do it on the Near blockchain.
Okay, no, not to worry. But yeah, it was kind of interesting because in terms of smart contracts and NFTs, I guess you're talking about, if you were to do this on Ethereum, then your gold NFT would be like an ERC-721 token. Yeah. And I guess your fractional ones would be some like ERC-1155s or something.
They'll all be 1 of 1. So they won't be they won't be part. So like it depends what it is. I could make them the same, because sometimes fractional is the same and sometimes fractional is different.
Mhm.
You know, let's say if it is seats the seats are kind of the same, you know, but let's say you have a property. The week in July is different than the week in August.
Mhm.
You know, and also you can split into bedrooms. So the master bedroom is different than the second bedroom.
Yeah, I'm
So
with you.
in that case, it's more one-of-one. So I'm not sure. I mean, like I think I'll mostly focus on creating maybe one-of-ones, and even if something extra like sits in a box, they could. It depends. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
something.
Well, look, keep us posted on how that goes on. That sounds a really interesting project. I just want to bring in, I see that Lewis has just joined us, so I just want to say hi to Lewis.
Hello everyone. Hi, nice to meet you. Sorry for the delay in coming on board. I apologize.
Hey, no problem. I just saw you joining in there, and we've just been chatting. Daniel's been talking about a really interesting project he's working on around NFTs for real estate and for VIP boxes at sports events. So we're just going around. I don't know where your interest lies, Lewis.
Sure, a little bit about me. So I'm an IP lawyer, entertainment lawyer, British, all based in both the United States and the UK. My interest lies in NFTs because our company is a film and TV production company, and we also do comic books. So we were thinking of entering the NFT marketplace to see if we can build a bigger community for our IP. I worked at Disney in the legal department, and our co-founder, he works on big budgets films for Warner Brothers and Netflix, and he's in a VFX. So we're kind of close to the NFT marketplace and that world, but we haven't really launched our first NFT yet. And I'm thinking about like, how do we, with plausibility, enter the market where it's not just about money, it's actually giving value to an audience that likes our IP. So our website is dreamstonestudio.com, and we do stuff like sci-fi stuff like Avatar meets the Matrix, those kind of comic books. Movies, we've just finished a movie that we shot during the pandemic about the King of Babylon. We have another boxing movie about knife crime and boxing in the UK, and we have the World Boxing Council on board, and very high level boxers, champion boxers, to support the film. So we're thinking of doing an NFT for that. But at the moment, being a lawyer, I'm in the explorative phase where I don't want to jump in straight away. I want to kind of take my time and see where we fit within the whole NFT ecosystem. Okay,
so that's kind of interesting because I guess with certainly the things like the Disney and the VFX connections, you may be attacking the NFT space from the Metaverse direction. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, we just acquired 20 acres of land in the Metaverse. We agreed a deal yesterday, actually, and we're going to build a boxing arena and an MMA arena, and a kind of like a shop to hang out, and pictures of boxers and NFTs of boxers. So that's in the pipeline that we want to build. But the Metaverse world the audience is very small, and I'm not sure if it's actually growing. So it's kind of a catch-22 for us. Do we build it and then hope for the best that there will be people visiting, or do we just wait until it grows? That's a kind of analytical research question that I've got to answer on behalf of the team.
Okay, I just pulled your site up as you were chatting there as well, and hopefully is it sharing at the moment?
Yes,
people can show the timeline where already you're making some great progress of doing various things on the comic book side of things. So that seems really an interesting one. So it's dreamstonestudio.com.
Yeah, and we just set up a social media influencer agency as part of our business. we haven't launched yet, but the website is complete. It's called expose.agency, so XPOSE.agency.
Oh, let's have a go with that as well then. So XPOSE.
.agency. And that one is still, we haven't launched. We have 6 influencers. Our top influencer is a gamer. He's a TikTok ambassador with about 8 or 9 million followers on TikTok, 15 million in total. So they would be happy to post about our projects if it's in the metaverse or, you know, on a crowdfunding platform.
Okay.
And
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
that's it.
So you're just looking at the whole imagery and everything here. We had someone on a few weeks ago who's doing some gaming stuff, and they had a gaming platform with some amazing avatars and that kind of thing. I just love this whole creative space. Yeah, you look at the icons and the avatars, and it's like, this is lovely the way it's all melding with technology and that kind of thing.
Thank you. I mean, we're all creatives, and you know, I studied law in the UK and I qualified as a British solicitor. And then I moved to Hollywood, worked at Disney and video game companies, and I felt that, you know, creativity is where we excel the most, and we have the connections to the streamers, to Warner Brothers, to Netflix, but we won't go to them until we have something that is really amazing for them. And right now, in terms of the metaverse and the NFT world, I guess they're building their own platforms, but if we can be a bridge between that world and the Hollywood world, then, you know, we've succeeded in the short term to be that bridge. I'm the youngest of the team. Everyone else is like 60s and 70-year-olds, so they don't really understand crypto and NFT and metaverse. They think it's just all a waste of time. But I'm the one that's kind of saying, no, guys, you know, we need to get in because we need to be early adopters and you know, provide support and creativity. So I'm trying to find a way where we can get our niche within the NFT metaverse. Yeah.
Well, I guess the other thing as well is that there's a whole growth area around IP protection and NFTs, and there's the whole conversation going on about does an NFT represent the asset, or does it represent ownership of the asset, and where does the IP lie in that?
It's a huge question, and I've talked at a few places like the DLT Lounge. I've talked about that in events. Basically, it's very complicated. Like, forget NFTs and anything to do with the, you know, crypto world. In the real world, in the film and TV world, there's so many things that are being litigated against because of IP infringements. You know, my case study for my master's at the moment is Pharrell Williams, and he's allegedly stole from Marvin Gaye's estate, and then Ed Sheeran, who allegedly stole, and then he won the case. And you know, that's just for music, like little clips. In terms of NFT, you're going to have a plethora like of cases and litigation going on because they don't understand what, you know, when an owner of an NFT buys an NFT, they think they own that image or something that image points towards. So it could be a film, it could be a comic book, but then if that comic book or movie is sold to a studio, that NFT holder potentially has a right of claim to sue both the platform, the seller, and the studio. And in America, it's like the Wild West. You can litigate over anything. So I'm expecting a humongous wave of litigation and cases about IP infringement and theft.
Well, that's well. I can't wait for the court cases around IP infringement within the metaverses. The whole concept of you've got a virtual thing, you know, a virtual estate or a virtual property or whatever, which confers ownership in a virtual concept of something else virtual. The lawyers are going to, as you say, they're going to do very nicely in the States. As to whether the litigants are going to get anywhere, I really don't know. Well, I think it's a fascinating area. It's why whenever people start off projects, it was interesting. Elena, who's on the call, was asking Daniel before about, you know, where he starts with his project around, you know, business case and companies now. And I always say that the first thing you want when you've got an idea is to engage a good lawyer, because it's a minefield where things can go wrong so quickly. And IP is just part of it as well. So
yeah, anything that you put in the terms and conditions that points towards ownership, then someone can latch onto that. And a few years later, if he sees the same image in a movie or a comic or a video game, he can say, yep, that's mine. I have the ownership of it. Here's the terms and conditions. It's written here. And any lawyer will go, oh, well, that was sold to Blizzard. They're billionaires, so let's sue them and aim for the settlement. And
Yep.
in essence, it's really not, even if there's no carte blanche case to argue, what the lawyers go for is the settlement discussion. So they know
Yep.
that, you know, a big company will go, we just want this to go away. Here's 500 grand, just go away. And that's what they're aiming for, even though you don't have a case. So one needs to be very careful what they put, which platform to choose, and you need to scrutinize the platform's terms and conditions, and what you're actually offering in terms of the NFT ownership.
I think it's an amazing area. Sorry, Sebastian, what are you going to say?
Yeah, I was just wondering, have you considered, is your company considered becoming a member of the Academy Software Foundation?
It needs to be justified why we do that. So that's my first question. What benefit would we get out of it, and what can we offer in return for that? I mean, I'd explore it, but those two main questions are, you know, if they can be answered, then yeah, why not?
In IP licensing with regard to the open source equivalent for media and that creative industry. So they've got members from you know, such as Disney and DreamWorks and such. And I'm sure you've seen the recent announcement of one of their rendering engines having been open sourced just this month. And so I think it's probably a good forum to bring up these discussions about future technologies and how they affect the creative industry.
Sure. Can you just remind me of their name again? The Academy?
Do you know what their website is or anything, Sebastian?
Academy Software Foundation.
Okay.
Yep, aswf.org.
Good man. Let's see if we can pull it
Oh,
up.
no, .io.
I do wish we'd all agree on a standard, which is funny because we were talking about standards the other week, weren't we? It's like, wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great if we could all agree on some standards? I'll throw that up on the screen because, again, this is the kind of thing that people who are watching this afterwards might find it really interesting to check out. So it's aswf.io. As you say, it's the Academy Software Foundation. And, you know, motion picture arts and sciences, that sounds really relevant to what Lewis was talking about there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our founder is a member of AMPAS. I'm a member of ATAS, which is the Academy of Television, Motion Picture, or whatever it is, the Emmys. So if AMPAS is behind it, then I'll definitely take a look at it and I'll speak to them and see if there's something we could do. You know, IP law is what I love, and if I can protect people, then somehow, then, you know, I've given back to the world. But I'll stop talking now, so I apologize.
No, that's good. The whole idea of this is that we get people together who maybe wouldn't meet normally. And we end up having these conversations at times where we discover these little snippets or nuggets. And each week, you know, I always end up hearing someone saying, oh, that was useful. So it's great, you know, that sometimes, like Sebastian's just explained a lot about SWF.io, that might be useful to you, or it might be useful to others watching the recording afterwards. So that's not a problem. Thanks for that, Sebastian. Yeah,
thank you, Sebastian. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's one of the things on the top of my mind at the moment, because one of the participants in the project I do most of the outreach for, which is SPDX. One of the participants in that used to be a lawyer for the Academy Software Foundation, and so there's that connection.
This is where you discover there's a whole community of lawyers in this space as well, which is interesting in its own right. So that's good.
I would love to have a conversation with him and see if there's anything that we can do together to help out.
Oh, well, I'll if you can pass your email to me, I will try and get you in contact.
So probably Lewis and Sebastian, that the best bet for yourselves and for anyone else, if you want anyone else to reach out, do you both use LinkedIn by any chance?
No, I'm not on LinkedIn myself.
Okay, right. That can sometimes be a useful thing. But certainly, I guess, feel free to pop it into the message area now, which won't get published, I don't think, on the recording that goes out on this. But feel free to share info.
Yeah.
Sure.
Do you use WhatsApp maybe, or I don't know, or Instagram?
Yeah, I can share my my LinkedIn. Let me just get that up. I'm known as Sam Lewis because my name is double barreled, but Lewis is probably just easier.
So there you go. At least in the chat box, Lewis has put his email address and his
that's mine.
profile. Oh, sorry, Sebastian, I'm getting mixed up. It's late in the day.
Yeah, well, just email servers don't have any problem with sending emails to oneself, so confusion might arise there.
Well, at least from there, then we've got a couple of people who've been able to connect in some way, so that's really useful. I hope that was good for you both. I just wanted to ask, we've got just over 10 minutes left before we close off today. Has anyone got any questions or anything else that they'd like to share before we continue the conversation as we go along?
Gary, because I think I googled your name before. There is like, I think one of the people that works with Robbie Williams, or you've never.
No, so there are a couple of Gary Nuttalls in the world. If you Google Gary Nuttall blockchain, then I fill the first page of Google, the Google search results. They are all me. And they're my Twitter, my LinkedIn, my Instagram, everything like that. If you just put Gary Nuttall, you will find that Robbie Williams has got a lead guitarist, also called Gary Nuttall.
Yeah.
And occasionally I get emails from people saying, "Hey, haven't met up with you for a while. How's it going? Do you want to hang out?" It's like, we are not the same person. So, which is a shame, because it's from it's usually from party people. So, hey, we've just been joined by Lawrence as well. Lawrence coming for the last few minutes. Or it looks like Lawrence has joined us and his connection's dropped because he's walking. Yeah, so Daniel, if you want to get in touch with me, the best thing is Google Gary Nuttall blockchain or Gary Nuttall technology, and I will fill the first page search results, and you'll find my LinkedIn profile there. But no, I cannot play the guitar, and I don't know Robbie Williams, and no, I don't have an apartment on a Spanish island with a party this weekend.
You can achieve that with your part ownership scheme.
Nice idea, Sebastian. Yeah, I could go with Daniel's fractional ownership of some property somewhere.
I suppose Gibraltar's pretty close.
Yeah. And Gibraltar's great as well because you've got things like GBX Exchange, which is quite nice. Gibraltar's been one of the areas that has been very much at the forefront of crypto and they've got GBX Exchange. They've got some very crypto-friendly regulation as well. So I think Gibraltar and Malta keep competing with each other to be most friendly. The advantage being Gibraltar's still a little bit more connected with the UK. So I think that's good. Hey, Lawrence, thanks for joining us with the sunsets. And is that the moon behind you as well?
Nah, that's a lamppost. Yeah, right, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks. You've missed out on a really good session today. We've been chatting to Lewis, who's a lawyer specializing in the IP world, flitting between, I guess, Hollywood and London, looking at a lot of VFX and all sorts of stuff going on in NFTs and that. Got Daniel, who's working on fractional ownership of crypto type things. Got the other Dan on, who's been fairly quiet. Sebastian, as always, is promoting the open source world, whether it's software standards or whatever. And now you've joined us as well.
That's all right. Yeah, Dan's from my community. He's in Nigeria. He trades Forex, and he As you can see, he's a giraffe as well.
I just love some of the avatars that are coming up these days. It's a shame that there's a guy that we call JT, who's got an awesome avatar that comes up as well. So we've got a great collection. So,
sorry, a quick question, because you're just talking about avatars and stuff. Like, have you become aware of a Web3 based? You use it with NFT.
I think I got that, Lawrence. You just dropping off a little bit. I think the question you asked was I aware of a Web3 platform called Huddle01, which uses NFTs in some way? Was that the right question?
Yeah, that's right. It's like Zoom, but you can log into it anonymously, and you can use your Web3 wallet, and it displays your NFT as your avatar over your face, and it also can have your avatar in the corner, and you can see yourself as well.
Okay, and is that running a whole video facility via blockchain by any chance?
I don't know. Like I did, I don't know if you ever heard of Unit Masters. Me and Dan and some other people from my community were doing that, and one of the study leaders started using it like the other week. I haven't used it myself, but it looks quite interesting, and the UI looks like Zoom.
Okay. So I know that there's a guy who normally comes on the call some weeks, JT, who spends a lot of his time at conferences and gets involved in all sorts of things. And he and I were chatting about a blockchain-based video conferencing facility, which was a little bit like Zoom or Google Meet, but was blockchain-based. So it's totally decentralized, totally distributed. And he was looking at using NFTs to provide access to it as a form of payment. I'm wondering if that's the same thing.
Not the same JT by any chance as BSD now?
No, I don't think so. So JT's actual name, I think it's Fernando, if I, but for some reason he's often known as JT, and I've yet to find out why he's called that.
Probably a different one.
Yeah, I guess choose any two letters in this world, and it'll be a different thing. So, but he was certainly looking at something. He showed me a demo the other week of a blockchain-based video conferencing thing. Because the really neat thing with that is it means that it's a way of providing the equivalent of Zoom or video conferencing in a censorship-resistant way. Because you couldn't really inspect the packets because it's like going over the equivalent of Onion, or sorry, going over Tor in effect. So it wasn't possible to censor it, which was kind of quite interesting. I don't know if that sounds similar in some way, Lawrence.
Dan, did you use Huddle01 with Anya the other week?
That do what?
Yeah.
Did you go to Anya's meeting on that new platform called Huddle01? The one that's like
No.
So, okay,
I was busy during the meeting.
Okay. No worries. I can't personally speak to it because I've not used it.
So in terms of decentralized communication systems, has anyone heard of Jammy? It's the
we're about to, aren't we?
Yes, you are. It's the GNU equivalent to Zoom, and it uses distributed hash tables in order to route your peer-to-peer connections. Yeah, so as long as you have a computer that's able to talk to the internet and receive requests, maybe via stun or something, if you don't have a port forwarding, it will create a peer-to-peer connection between all of the participants and use a distributed hash table to route your WebRTC connection.
So that means it's totally distributed then, doesn't it? That's an interesting one. Okay. Sorry, Sebastian, I just threw up the screen on Huddle01. So I just popped that up as you were talking. So I think Lawrence shared that. So thanks for that, Lawrence. But what was the one you were talking about again, Sebastian? What's the name of it?
Yeah, I've posted a link in the chat. It's jammy.net.
Yeah, I've just put jammy.net up. Is that the one that I'm sharing?
Yeah. Well,
sorry,
on the topic. Well, we're just on the topic. Sorry, I was just going to ask, while we're on the topic, what is your general feelings about Zoom?
Mine personally, I think it was an absolute leader that was brilliant at the time of COVID kicking in, and it works. So I like it. In terms of security, scalability, I I don't generally use it for talking about anything too sensitive. So the fact that, you know, the packets of data might be going through some country that might want to use it in some way, I don't actually have an issue with. I'd imagine most people get quite bored with a lot of stuff I talk about. Does that give an opinion?
Yeah, just curious. I personally haven't thought much about it. I tried to use Jitsi, not Jitsi. Yeah, Jitsi.
Yeah.
That was really glitchy, but that was open source. But it just crashed so much all the time. It was really painful. And I find Zoom to be very data heavy. It's like such a beast.
Yep.
That's really interesting. Would it, just quickly, Lawrence, would you like to have a private call with me at some time and try and fix the Jitsi problems?
You're welcome to tweet me. I'll send you my details in the chat here.
If you guys set that up, and Lewis has just put his hand up, so go for it, Lewis, because we've only got a minute. So
Sure. Yeah. Sorry to change subjects, but when I read on the Zoom group that there was sort of talk today about how Ethereum and XRP, did I miss that, or was that the beginning, or did you guys?
no, we just didn't get round to it.
Oh,
So
okay.
I think what it probably was I remembered at the last minute that I hadn't sent a notification request out to people about today's session. So normally what I do, I run a whole bunch of WhatsApp groups, WhatsApp groups, Telegram groups, the odd Signal group and that kind of thing. And I usually send a message out an hour before this session each week just to remind everybody. And I only did it with about 15 minutes to spare today. So it was a bit rushed of, well, Bitcoin's in the news, Ripple court case still going through. So I just pinged that in to get people interested. We didn't get a chance to talk about it, I'm afraid.
You mentioned something about signals. Is there any way that I can maybe join that group for signals? I would love to get some signals on, you know.
So it's not Signals. It is an application, a messaging app called Signal. So it's just like Telegram. You tend to find that for a lot of people in the crypto space, they use Signal or Telegram in preference to WhatsApp.
Yeah.
So it's just that. But yeah, for anyone who wants to get in touch or anything, as I was saying to some of the others before, just drop me a note. Google me, Gary Nuttall, blockchain. I appear at the top of the Google list. You'll find me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. Just send me a note. Happy to have a follow-up chat with anybody from here. Folks, I'm really sorry. It was getting really interesting there with people beginning to exchange things. That was great. I need to close the call off, unfortunately. So for anyone who didn't get to speak about anything they wanted to, do come back next week. We do meet each week, 7 o'clock UK time. The link will be in the YouTube video recording below on meetup.com. Do come again, and thanks everyone for joining in this week.